Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11grinds. Here to take a look at some pitching for today, the 14th of August. It is Friday, and we do have a 10-game main slate ahead of us this evening. From my understanding, we don't really have anything weather-wise to worry about, so we can take pitching for what it is. A reminder that this is a first look, and I am looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now let's just jump right in. Tampa Bay going with an opener, long reliever. Probably a spot where I'm just going to avoid. Schultens has shown some ability, but I'm just not excited about any kind of upside. And on a 10-game slate, I don't think we have to deal with it. Bassett making his return from the IL, probably not a spot I want to jump on. He's certainly capable of a mid-20s, but just no reason to pick on Tampa Bay when they're at home. He's been really bad on the road so far this year with the Orioles as well. San Diego, Cleveland, probably a decent pitching matchup. Michael King certainly in play. He's got to avoid the walks. Those can be an issue. But I do think there's some upside for him in this spot. Not that Cleveland strikes out a ton, but overall the offense is weak enough that I think Michael King is certainly worth some exposure. Gavin Williams on the other side had his run of 5 straight games with double-digit strikeouts come to an end in his last start. Kind of hit a wall. I believe he was rolling, and then in the 6th inning he kind of fell apart a little bit, but just always in play. Especially when at home. He's been phenomenal pitching at home. Overall, I'm not too worried about San Diego. I guess Tatis and Jackson Merrill are the two bats that worry me the most. But Gavin Williams certainly going to be one of the top arms on this slate. Washington and the Mets. I don't think I'm getting to either pitcher. Alvarez certainly shown some ability at times. Absolutely dominated Boston. Didn't even qualify for a W. But overall, I just don't think so. Was decent against the Mets the first time he faced them, but again, I'd much rather use the bats in this game. Robert Stock just not going to do it for me either, so I will pass on pitching in that one. The Yankees and Toronto. I'm just not sure what to do with Bieber. Atrocious start followed up with a good one, and then another atrocious one. You know, he's 20 plus in 3 out of his last 5 starts, but still, I mean, the Yankees have struggled enough. His numbers at home have been phenomenal, so maybe. He's just not a huge K guy, so I don't know if we miss out on a big-time performance if we fade Bieber. So he's somebody that I'm probably going to spend the next 2 hours just trying to decide on. Garrett Cole on the other side, been pitching phenomenally. Basically 28 fantasy points in 3 out of his last 4 starts. 20 plus in 5 straight and 6 of 7. Comes in pretty solidly. The best stretch of his season, pretty much. Strikeouts are up as well, 7 plus in 4 out of the last 5, or 3 out of the last 4, or 4 out of the last 5, I guess, technically. Wasn't looking at this one, but we know Toronto doesn't strike out a whole lot. He's a little worse on the road, but still, that Toronto lineup looks really bad, even though I think he might give up a home run to a first baseman in this one. Arizona, Atlanta. Brandon Pfaadt, not somebody I'm going to play. He's certainly capable of doing good things. He's been decent of late. 0 earned runs in 3 straight. There's just no strikeout upside. And I think this is a good spot for Atlanta to get to him. On the other side, you get Chris Sale. I want to play Chris Sale. I'm going to play him, but I'm going to temper some expectations. His K rate is a lot lower at home, and he takes on a team that just doesn't strike out against left-handed pitching. I believe the last time I looked, Arizona's team strikeout rate is around 17% against left-handed pitchers, which is supremely low. But he's been phenomenal when pitching at home, so he is somebody that we got to use on this slate. Seattle and Houston, you get Lambert versus Kirby. I think Kirby's super interesting. It's been a bad year for him. He's not been great on the road either. But he has made 2 starts against Houston, averaging over 23 fantasy points against them. per start. One went for 22, the other one went for 24. He's just been really good against them. I think Houston kind of comes in a little limping, I guess. But then again, Kirby has 3 strikeouts or fewer in 3 straight starts. So, like, the recent trends aren't great for him either. But I do think I want to mix in some George Kirby. On the other side, you get Peter Lambert. His one start against Seattle was solid. It wasn't great. His fantasy points are strong at home, even though his ERA is a little higher. His reverse splits might not be a great thing in this. I think J-Rod and Arozarena are in pretty great spots, but overall, we've obviously been picking on Seattle with pitching. Kind of been hit or miss. Like, they just haven't been striking out as much as we expect them to recently. The Yankees pitchers didn't really rack up the strikeouts that we were predicting, but I still think there's upside for Lambert, and there's definitely upside for Kirby. Kansas City and the Angels. What are we going to do with Seth Lugo? But first, like, Grayson Rodriguez is just not on my radar. Hasn't been bad, I guess, recently. Strikeouts have been up, but Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much, so I kind of expect those to trend down. So I just don't think we can use Grayson. Lugo is the big question for me. We've been picking on the Angels for much of the season with pitching. Lugo has just one start over 19 fantasy points since the middle of April. It's just been an atrocious year for Lugo. I just don't know. Like if it came down to, Lugo or Bieber, I think I'd rather play Bieber. Like, I feel better about the upside than I do, or feel better with Bieber than I do with Lugo. His one start against the Angels, he got absolutely destroyed. 14 hits and a walk in 6 1/3. Just insane numbers. I wonder how many pitches they allowed him to go in that one, because that's wild. 97 pitches, 6 1/3, and they let him give up 14 hits. Which, yeah, obviously big difference almost 4 months ago. So not the same Angel squad, but still, I just don't know if Lugo can get there for us. Texas and the A's. I've been picking on the A's plenty. I don't think I'm going to do it with Kumar Rocker in this spot. Recent starts, not good at all. He has a 10.7 against them and a 13. I just have no desire. If Rocker beats me on this slate, then so be it. I'm just going to stick to stacking against him. Now you get Gage Jump, who 2 out of his last 3 starts has been absolutely phenomenal, and both happen to be against, arguably the hottest team in baseball. At least the first of those 3 was against the hottest team in baseball at the time. Absolutely dominated Boston. Dominated again in his last start. I am going to go there. I don't love him pitching at home. Some numbers have been pretty bad, but his strikeouts are there. He just has to avoid the walks and home runs. Texas, not a big power squad, and their hottest hitter had been Jock, who won't be in the lineup against him. So I am going to go there. It's a super volatile spot. I recognize that, but I want the upside that Gage Jump provides on this slate. Milwaukee and the Dodgers, you get Yamamoto and Gosser. I think Yamamoto is going to be a sprinkle in. He was decent against the Brewers the first time, just didn't pick up any strikeouts. If he could have gotten to, 6 strikeouts, we're looking at, 25, 26 fantasy points. He's not as strong at home, but he's still pretty good at home. And Milwaukee away from home, probably a better matchup than when they're at home. On the other side, Robert Gosser, I'm still going to debate Gosser a little bit as well. Left-handed pitching against the Dodgers has been where I've been looking. Drohan looked decent until he didn't last night, which I feel like we're kind of getting the same setup from Gosser, where he's really going to look decent until he just doesn't any longer. And because of that, it feels like he has a kind of a capped ceiling. Could he put up 25? Maybe. His one start against the Dodgers was pretty bad. There's a lot of 4s in that line. He does something similar to that, we're definitely not interested. He's been worse on the road as well. Leaning towards the fade on Gosser, or just passing. I don't really know that he's going to be owned all that much, where we need to consider it a true fade. Colorado and San Francisco get liner out pitching at home. Against a team I like, obviously, picking on when they're away from home. So I will be playing some liner out. Average against of sub 200, but still a ERA of 4 when pitching at home is kind of wild. Probably some unluckiness in there when it comes to walks. Doesn't really give up many hits when he's at home. So I am going to play liner out and probably play him with a decent amount of confidence. On the other side, you get Kyle Freeland. Is this the spot where we can use Kyle Freeland? He struck out 9 in his one start against San Francisco. Problem is, away from home, he's been so terrible. But, that 20 fantasy point performance against San Francisco came in San Francisco. But it doesn't come clean, and I just don't expect 9 strikeouts from him again. So if we get more of a traditional Kyle Freeland, we get more like 4 strikeouts, maybe 5. If we get that, can he offset allowing base runners, etc.? I just don't know. San Francisco lineup is pretty weak right now, but I don't know if I want to dip my toes in the Kyle Freeland well. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., there is a link in the description below. You can use promo code BOOK, BOOK, for 20% off any membership at DFS Army. There's a link to the merch store. Check out my design, on a hoodie or whatever, and some of the other stuff that we have going on. And as always, best of luck, everybody.